We advise the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Strong challenge marker.
See him on the screen right there? See his little face? His little weaselly face? You have a lot of nerve standing there in front of me. You're pathetic.
I think you're a loser.
Loser.
You're a coward. You're a punk.
You're insidious. You're mean.
You're a lowlife.
You're a small, sad, pathetic little loser.
What I want to say to you, Cancer, is...
Oh, bleep.
What was that?
I hate you. I hate you.
Te odio.
I'm sick of you.
You're the worst thing that ever happened in my life.
You are a murderer.
Stop looking so innocent, like you didn't know what was going on.
Shut up, Cancer.
I'm going to tell you what I had to go through, and you're going to listen.
You're gonna have to listen to me now.
When I was 12, you took my mom.
You took our friend.
You took my father.
You attacked my grandmother, and she passed away.
You took my Aunt Cecilia.
You killed my brother when I was 4 years old.
And then you tried to get me.
I found you when I was 31 years old.
I was actually 17.
I was feeling my breast, and there you were.
I had brain cancer.
I had leukemia.
I have prostate cancer.
I have stage 4 breast cancer.
You took my esophagus and my voice.
You took being able to play basketball away from me.
You let me know what a bilateral mastectomy was like.
You made my daughter feel bad. You made her have bad days.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Step off.
Get out of my life.
Leave me alone.
You're an equal opportunity killer, and I'm supposed to be impressed by that.
You'll kill 8 million people this year.
How dare you?
You crossed the line.
Now it's my turn.
And now it's my turn.
You have no idea what you've started.
Did you think that you could mess with 28 million of us?
28 million of us are going to fight you.
And we're going to fight you in lots of ways. I can ride, I can walk, and I can run.
We fight you by walking.
I walked in a Live Strong challenge. I'm going to ride my bike 70 miles.
Last year I rode 40 miles, and this year I'm gonna do 90.
I crossed the survivor line, and I got my yellow rose, and I fought you. I'm going to fight you with every ounce of my being.
You started this.
But we are going to finish it.
Don't turn your back.
This is over when I say it's over. I am so over you.
Sometimes you just have to pick a fight.
I'm going to pick a fight with you.
Game on, Cancer.
Game on.
Game on.
You're gonna regret messing with me.
I may only be 4'11", but I'll kick your...
I'd like to do that. You want to go out back?
So I really think you better watch out.
I've got an army behind me.
I'm up for a challenge.
I'm up for a challenge.
Are you up for a challenge?
Challenge this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I'm your host, Buddy Kunanan. Now, tonight, our coverage of health and wellness continues with a focus on cancer. Now, we've all lost someone special to this dreaded disease, whether it be a family member, friend, or relative. Now, like you, I'm tired of losing loved ones to cancer, tired of hopelessness, tired of man's seeming inability to fight this disease. And hopefully, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And today, we're going to meet two gentlemen, who believe that cancer can and should be beaten. And I'd like to welcome on the show, on my left, first we have Hans Palacios, a natural health advocate and a return guest of Philippines Uncut many times. Good evening, Hans. Welcome.
Good evening, buddy. And
Thank
good
you.
evening to all your guests.
Thank you for coming again on the show. And we have Dr. Bienvenido R. Castro Jr., who is an anesthesiologist and a Dorn method practitioner.
Yes, good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. And
yes,
thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Castro, for coming on Philippines Uncut. And, you know, that video was very powerful. It's from the Live Strong series in the U.S. And you can really feel the anger and the passion of these people who really want to beat cancer.
Yes.
Now, let's start this discussion by talking about cancer today. Because, you know, as I mentioned in my spiel, all of us have had some sort of loss to cancer. Why is this? How come it seems to be like so rampant these days, and practically it seems like it's almost like an epidemic of sorts when you talk about cancer?
Well, let's put it this way. Over the last 100 years, they've still been using the three main conventional approaches to healing cancer, which is the slash, cut, and burn, and the slash, poison, and burn, which is operating on it, chemo, which is poisoning it, or burning it with radiation. Now, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and then expecting a different result. See?
Yes.
So, but what's making it worse right now is that as time goes on, we're getting more and more toxic. See, 100 years ago, there were no vehicles, there were no processed foods, there was no Wi-Fi, radiation, and all of that. Now you put that all into the situation, then you have the stress, the bad diets, and all that. So it's compounding everything, and you're still trying to approach it from the same position that you were doing 100 years ago. And you put on top of that the fact that there have been cures. It's well documented. Now, in the age of the internet, you can, through the alternative media, find out what has been going on in the last 100 years. There have been cures. People have been cured. There are places like in Mexico, which cure cancer, where people are able to get well from it. But the point is, the medical profession is keeping it away.
Okay.
This alternative means of tackling cancer.
Yes.
So that is the problem in a nutshell.
Yes. Dr. Castro,
Yes.
what is cancer basically when you say, because let's just define it for the audience.
Well, it's multiplication of abnormal cells in the body, that gives rise to tumors, that can be felt and can give pain to a patient.
Okay. Now, what do you have to say about what Hans said about cut, poison, and burn, meaning operate, chemo, and radiation? Being okay, let's talk about your background first. You're a doctor.
I'm a diplomate in anesthesiology. So what Hans told us about everything,
Wait, let's go through your credentials.
I was part of it,
Let's go through your credentials.
Okay.
You're an anesthesiologist.
Yes.
And you're currently working where exactly, or practicing where?
Okay, I left the operating room. Okay, I saw people getting healed through the spine. Okay, and that's near my forte. A master in anesthesiology knows a lot about the spine, and when I went to the spine and started, doing physical therapy and healing, what happened is, you saw the miracles happening to you. These people are just getting well just by alignment of the spine.
No, but what do you have to say, being a medical practitioner, someone trained in Western medicine, to what Hans said that it's failing, it's not working? The whole cut, poison, and burn for the last 100 years, and I mean, it's not working.
Okay, if you're going to talk about statistics, well, about morbidities or mortalities, most of them are not really reported. Okay, especially the side effects of medicines and everything. So, what is important is, I was there seeing everything, Then I realized the books I'm reading are, unknown etiologies. The cause of the disease is not there. The treatment is just sometimes steroids or surgery. And actually, most of them can be treated the natural way.
Yes. What is wrong with, when people come down with or diagnosed with cancer, automatically the doctor will say, okay, chemo, or let's say radiation, or hormone therapy, or surgery. What is wrong with these approaches? And should people follow this approach, basically?
Can I answer that?
Sure. Let's start with Hans.
Because as Dr. Bien said, he addresses the root cause. His is the spine. But you see, cancer is just a symptom. So if you're going to hit on the symptom, like cutting it or poking at it, let's say a cancer mass or a little lump on the breast is benign, and you start poking it with the needle, and then it starts to spread in the lymph nodes, and then it's in the blood and all that. See, there has to be a way to be able to diagnose what the cause is of the cancer. And there are lots of ways to do that. Or, better still, to address the cause. And it's not through chemo, through radiation. It's through the alternative means. Diet, exercise, food, and, the things that are causing the cancer, the imbalances.
Why do all the doctors, or let's say great majority of the doctors who treat cancer, automatically prescribe these sorts of treatments right away? Right away.
Okay, because basically we were trained to heal people or treat people organ-oriented. When there's a problem in the organ, and that's what you only treat. But what you see at the back, you don't even know what's happening in the spine or in the organ system, or the imbalances happening to the patient. Okay? You don't even see that. So we were not trained for that.
Wow. I mean, these are strong words coming from someone who
Well, that's my experience.
Yes. Now, what led you to this? As you said, you had a front row seat to all this, and what led you to spine treatment, to alternative medicine?
Okay, if you're going to talk about my history, well, I started understanding that the human being has energy, and that was 1991 when I was doing the Reiki thing, R-E-I-K-I, meaning God's energy or universal life force. And these masters of healers, or healers of Reiki, were the ones who opened me. Then later on, I found out about this guy who's doing the Dorn method from Germany. Okay? The Dorn method is a gentle treatment of the spine in Germany. And when I gave him patients, and he started healing my patients, and they were getting well, and the first one that he treated was scoliosis. And scoliosis is a treatment we do under surgery most of the time.
Wow,
in
yes,
Western.
of course.
But now I'm doing it the natural way, the Dorn method way.
So you're saying you can cure scoliosis,
yes,
in a non-invasive way.
Non-invasive way.
How long does it take? I mean, to fix
Well,
someone
it
with
depends
that kind of problem?
on the curvature of the patient,
Okay.
and the stress in the patient, the lifestyle. So that's we have to address first. Then the treatment takes around 2 hours per session.
How many sessions usually do people need?
For people who are just misaligned, there's just a twisting of some of the bones or the joints. It takes just one session.
Okay, let's talk about the Dorn method now, because
Okay.
we're talking about spine, we're talking about joints and the misalignment of the bones. Okay, let's talk about Dorn method. What is the Dorn method? You said it's a gentle alignment of the spine.
Okay.
Now, what does this have to do with health?
Okay. Now, I'm an anesthesiologist. I really understood that there are nerves coming from the spine, and we call
it's
it
the highway. It's the highway of the central
okay,
nervous
that's
system.
a highway. Then you have the autonomic nervous system.
Okay.
Okay, the autonomic nervous system is composed of two things, the parasympathetic and sympathetic. And what is parasympathetic? That's the one that opens up the blood vessels in the organs. And the sympathetic is the one that closes. So if we're going to refer to the spine here, okay, the one in front.
You brought a model of a spine.
So the parasympathetic is the nerves in the cervical, okay, here, and the one here in the sacrum.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what you call the parasympathetic system. That opens up the blood vessels.
Okay.
The sympathetic system is the thoraco and lumbar
Which
area.
closes the vessel.
Which closes the vessels.
So, okay, from a layman's perspective, if these things are not opening and closing properly,
there's an imbalance.
Okay, what's the effect of that?
What will happen to the organ? It cannot remove the toxins. It cannot remove the excess cholesterol or uric acid that's in the organ.
Let's talk about these toxins, Hans. When you say toxins, where do we get these toxins from? And what are these exactly? Are these poisons? Are these, what kind of substances are these?
Well, there are two types of toxins. The toxins that come from the cells themselves, or the toxins that you introduced into the body.
Okay.
So, normally, we replenish our cells. As we age, the cells multiply, and the ones that the new cells are replace the old cells.
Okay.
The old cells normally die off, and to make way for the new cells. In terms of cancer, these old cells remain, and then they start to mutate and change. They are fed by the toxins that they produce or that the imbalances produce, and then they start just growing and growing. That's where you have tumors and all those manifestations. You see that this is where you lose what we call the balance or homeostasis in the body. Then things start to go wrong.
So what you're saying is cancer is actually caused by an imbalance.
Yes.
In the body that prevents organs from operating properly, from getting rid of toxins.
That's it.
That balance we're talking about is the pH. You know, when you look at the scale, it's there in the middle.
Acidity or the base.
The
of
alkaline
yes.
acidity. You're there in the middle at 7,
Yes.
around 7 in that region. Now, the moment that tips a bit, you know, you go left or right, something happens. In the case of cancer, cancer feeds on acidity. So if your blood goes towards the acidic side, then you are a higher risk for cancer. So when somebody is diagnosed to have cancer, the first thing they should be looking at is the blood. I mean, the highway, because you don't want it. You want to cut off the spread.
Yes.
In most cases, a lot of cases happen. They see a lump, and instead of isolating it, they spread it.
Yes. Actually, my late father, passed away due to prostate cancer. And what happened was some people later on, when they found out that they had biopsied my father's prostate, they were saying, no, he shouldn't have done that. Because, they were saying that it actually will cause the spread of the cancer, which actually it did. Because it spread from his prostate to his liver, to his spine, and things like that.
You see, at that point, it was still benign. Generally, we men, we're going to have prostate cancer.
I hope
As
not.
we get older, the cancer cells are in our body.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
it depends on how balanced our body, how fit we are, how the immune system is, the homeostasis is. Hopefully, we're not going to be able to reach that level where the cancer spreads and then starts propagating in one place and then expanding and then going to other parts of the body. If we have a proper diet, we sleep well, we do everything properly, then that will not happen. But in the cases of men, let's say 50s, 60s, 70s, the prostate is really going to act up. Now, how badly it is going to act up depends on how we approach it. Now, if they're going to start poking on it, like a needle, like with breast cancer, the first thing they do is to put a needle in and then find out. Then they start to spread it into the lymph nodes already. Then the next thing you know, it has metastasized to other parts. So, there has to be a better way of testing or approaching.
Yes. Now, Dr. Castro, in your case, when you talk about diagnosis, how do you diagnose patients?
Well,
through this method.
Well, if you're a sensitive guy already in the Dorn method, once you see the patient walking, you're going to see that there's something wrong with the patient.
Really? Just by how someone walks?
You would know that there's a leg difference. The pelvic brim is tilted.
Okay.
The spine is going down like that. The patient's shoulders are heavy. There's a neck problem. You can see there's a neck problem. Sometimes you go to the jaw. You're going to see the jaw. It's misaligned. And you're going to see the hands. There's an imbalance. You're going to see the imbalance
Really?
there.
So how about, let's say, if someone shows you his or her hands, you can tell an imbalance. Okay. Now, this is for a private session after the show. Now, okay, Dr. Castro, a lot of viewers are probably wondering, okay, we're talking about the spines, and usually what people say is that ang layo naman yan sa bituka, ang layo naman yan sa, anong connection yan, di ba? So,
okay. So, when people come to me, most of them are skeptic.
Yes, of course, of course.
They didn't realize there's a guy who can do the spine and heal through the spine. See? So I was like that before. I was a skeptic. So when you try to put the balance in the spine, keep the legs even, the pelvic brim, which is related to the prostate cancer we were talking about, okay? And that's where the cancer starts, when there's an imbalance in the pelvic brim, especially the sacrum, this part, okay? This part.
Okay.
This is so important. This is the one that supplies your reproductive organs for males and females. So a lot of obstetric problems and urologic problems start from that area. So when I started healing that area, a lot of tumors were getting smaller, especially the prostate. The patients will just report to you after 2 weeks, Dr. Bien, it used to be 5 grams, my prostate. Now it's already 3 grams, which is, within the normal limits.
So have you cured people with cancer using this method?
Well, I've been treating people for 7 years already.
Okay.
I started 2005, and this is my 7th year. So thousands of patients have seen me. Okay.
Tell us about some success stories.
Okay. Let's talk about my youngest patient.
Okay.
My youngest patient is a 3-week-old neonate.
3 weeks old?
3 weeks old.
Okay.
Wait. The grandmother told me, yeah, look at my granddaughter. Her jaw is like that. So I thought of, healing the grandmother first, then you cannot order a neonate to open and close the mouth to align the jaw. But what I did was I put,
Yes.
I tried feeding the kid, and the neonate was moving her jaw, and I tried to push it on the side, and suddenly the jaw was aligned.
Okay.
Now my eldest patient is a 94-year-old patient who's scoliotic. Well, after the second session, she was doing well already.
What about women with breast cancer and
Okay.
cervical cancer? And
Okay,
things like
women with breast cancer, we have to go to this chart, this
Okay,
one.
sure.
Okay, okay. If we can,
that? Sure, you can hold it up. So,
okay, if we can zoom this chart,
over here.
please. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you're gonna look at this area, the yellow portion, okay, that's the most sensitive part, okay, of the spine, okay. That's wherein you have diabetes, okay. You have the stomach problems, duodenal ulcer. So that means that's the central portion of your spine. So if there's a misalignment here, a lot of cases will happen with regards to diabetes and immune system problems. Now, the most important here is the cancer problem, okay? So that means if there's a problem in the stomach, in your pancreas, or the spleen, which this area supplies, something will go wrong with your nutrients. And the nutrients are so important for your immune system.
So what you're saying is if your spine is not aligned, it means that your body and your organs are not getting the proper nutrition.
Okay.
The nutrition that you take into your mouth is not, for some reason, flowing where it is
It's
supposed
not
to go.
digested properly. It's not being absorbed properly. So something will go wrong with your immune system. And that's the answer. So as an anesthesiologist, I was amazed.
Yes, yeah.
So I was doing treating patients with breast cancers. And what happens? The tumors are just getting smaller and smaller.
Because you've removed the source of,
Yes.
Okay.
He addressed it.
Address the source of the
Okay,
cancer.
and let's talk about circulation. If you improve the circulation in this part, what will happen? The circulation will remove the tumors that are growing.
So what you're saying is that the body has the power to heal itself.
Of course.
We can heal ourselves
Yes.
without the need for outside interventions, put that way.
Yes.
Because there's only an imbalance.
Yeah.
The nerves are not just functioning properly to open and close the blood vessels.
Wow.
And if you looked at it, Buddy was talking about diabetes and all, and you know that wherever there's a blood sugar imbalance, when there's a high blood sugar, that's where the cancer really thrives. See,
Yes,
so if you address it and then you get the balance finally in the blood, you get proper pH, then it doesn't make it conducive for cancer to now spread.
Yes. And also when you talk about cancer remission, and then some people, cancer goes into remission, then after a few years, it comes back. Because you haven't addressed
Yes,
the root of
actually,
the cause.
let's say chemo or radiation, or they cut something out. They took out the symptom, that lump.
Yes.
But in the process of removing that symptom, that lump, they had spread it. So for a while, they think, oh, we conquered it. Tapos na.
Yes,
Natanggal na namin.
Yes.
Pero it started to spread already in the blood.
Yes.
And then the conditions are still there.
Yes.
And then they start to be in the bones,
No
in
wonder
the liver.
and, a lot of people say itong cancer salbahing kalaban.
Traidor
like,
siya.
Traidor, as in when you get treated for cancer, it goes away, then you seem like you're getting okay, then it comes back with a vengeance, which is exactly actually what happened to my old man.
It gives
came
you
back-
a false sense of security,
Absolutely.
and then you start to
Absolutely.
relive the old lifestyle that you have, not knowing that you still have the same environment, but now that it has spread through your whole body, and it will lodge somewhere. It takes time for it to lodge somewhere and then start gathering. They're going to start multiplying again. See? And it's not overnight. Aggressive forms of cancer, it is because the environment, it's really, really bad already. See, but if it's not in the body, let's say it's just in a lump, and you were able to spread it because of biopsy,
Because of a biopsy.
see, then, or something else, if you're able to spread it, it will take time for it to be aggressive.
Yes. Now, Dr. Castro, this practice, is this accepted by the medical community? What
Well-
do your colleagues have to say about this?
Well, most of them are amazed when somebody gets healed, So they get to question themselves.
Which
So
is good.
When I'm with them, I just tell them, Dr. Bien, what will your colleagues tell you when they see you doing this? You know what they'll do? They'll just jump out of the box.
And that's what it really is, thinking outside the box.
Yes.
Hold that thought. Guys, don't go away, because in a few moments we'll be back with more of Alternative Remedies to Cancer. Stay tuned.
kick your...
Wah!
I'd like to do that. You want to go out back?
So I really think you better watch out.
I've got an army behind me.
I'm up for a challenge.
I'm up for a challenge.
Are you up for a challenge?
Challenge this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I'm your host, Buddy Kunanan. Now, tonight, our coverage of health and wellness continues with a focus on cancer. Now, we've all lost someone special to this dreaded disease, whether it be a family member, friend, or relative. Now, like you, I'm tired of losing loved ones to cancer, tired of hopelessness, tired of man's seeming inability to fight this disease. And hopefully, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And today, we're going to meet two gentlemen, who believe that cancer can and should be beaten.
Live Strong Challenge marker.
See him on the screen right there? See his little face? His little weaselly face? You have a lot of nerve standing there in front of me. You're pathetic.
I think you're a loser.
Loser.
You're a coward.
You're a punk.
You're insidious.
You're mean.
You're a lowlife.
You're a small, sad, pathetic little loser.
What I want to say to you, Cancer, is...
Oh, bleep.
What was that?
I hate you. I hate you.
They all of you.
I'm sick of you.
You're the worst thing that ever happened in my life.
You are a murderer.
Stop looking so innocent, like you didn't know what was going on.
Shut up, Cancer.
I'm going to tell you what I had to go through, and you're going to listen.
You're going to have to listen to me now. When I was 12, you took my mom. You took our friend.
You took my father.
You attacked my grandmother, and she passed away.
You took my Aunt Cecilia,
You killed my brother when I was 4 years old.
and then you tried to get me.
I found you when I was 31 years old.
I was actually 17.
I was feeling my breast, and there you were.
I had brain cancer.
I had leukemia.
I have prostate cancer.
I have stage 4 breast cancer.
You took my esophagus and my voice.
You took being able to play basketball away from me.
You let me know what a bilateral mastectomy was like.
You made my daughter feel bad. You made her have bad days.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Step off.
Get out of my life. Leave me alone.
You're an equal opportunity killer, and I'm supposed to be impressed by that.
You'll kill 8 million people this year. How dare you?
You crossed the line.
Now it's my turn.
And now it's my turn.
You have no idea what you've started.
Did you think that you could mess with 28 million of us?
28 million of us are going to fight you.
And we're going to fight you in lots of ways.
I can ride, I can walk, and I can run.
We fight you by walking.
I walked in the Live Strong Challenge. I'm going to ride my bike 70 miles.
Last year I rode 40 miles, and this year I'm gonna do 90.
I crossed the survivor line, and I got my yellow rose, and I fought you. I'm going to fight you with every ounce of my being.
You started this!
But we are going to finish it.
Don't turn your back.
This is over when I say it's over.
I am so over you.
Sometimes you just have to pick a fight.
I'm gonna pick a fight with you.
Game on, cancer.
Game on.
Game on.
You're going to regret messing with me.
I may only be 4'11", but I'll...
We advise the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.